just recently commenced work on packages 1 and 2. They are doing excavation work and some concrete works, and they are moving along nicely as well. We do have some outstanding work to be done within that area. That is the reconstruction or the relaying of the roadway. The river tenders are to be returned on Monday the 7th. We have 13 companies expressing interest in repairing that landslip area. We are very excited about having that project completed so we can get traffic moving back within that area. The Molina landslip occurred separate and apart from the Western Corridor project, and so the government took the decision to act speedily to have that area repaired as quickly as possible. So all the designs are completed, all the geotechnical studies, and so we're now waiting for those tenders to come in on Monday, in which they will be evaluated, and then a preferred contractor will be selected thereafter, and we can see some work in the next couple of months or so, heavy construction work taking place. The Western Corridor work, the feasibility study and design phase are ongoing, and we should see some work on the Western Corridor, that roadway stretching from Stadium all the way to St. Mark's Secondary School around the third quarter of 2022. Another important development, the Simon Cultural Center. We have been given frequent updates on this important project for the St. Andrews area, St. Andrews Parish. We are happy to announce that a contract has been awarded to Kenny's Trucking for work, to commence work on the all-important and long-awaited Simon Cultural Center. I just want to signal that the parliamentary rep, she has been very committed in ensuring that we get this project up and running, and they are very excited in the St. Andrews area, and I'm happy to have that project coming back. That is one of the signature institutions within the St. Andrews area, to having the Simon Cultural Center back up and running. Another important project that the residents have been asking about, that area from Woodlands, from the cliff to the Woodlands roundabout, that piece of roadway. We are working on that, and we are very hopeful within the next 2 to 3 weeks that work will come up for public tender. I just want to give an update on one more important project, that is the MBI upgrade project, the Maurice Bishop International Airport upgrade project. Work is ongoing on the bypass road and also the expansion of the apron. A lot of the work that is going on right now has to do with unearthing a lot of cables, electrical cables, fiber optic cables. The works have been done to locate those, to secure them before major excavation work can take place. Additionally, the asphalt plant is on island, is being put together, is being set up so that work can commence in resurfacing the bypass road and also the airstrip, which has to be resurfaced as part of the upgrade project. So these are the main updates I want to give right now. If there are other projects not mentioned, reporters, the media can feel free to ask questions on those as well, and I will respond as best as I can with whatever information that I have in terms of those projects. So I want to thank persons for being here this morning, and we are happy to respond as best as we can with questions on this project, what is reported here, and other projects that we have ongoing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Colleagues, you've heard from the Minister for Infrastructure Development, Honorable Nolan Cox. Are you ready with your questions? All right, Minister, while we await media colleagues, maybe you can update us on the project. I cannot recall the name right now, but I think it's stretching from somewhere Guelph to Grandance, and Nawassa is involved in that.
Okay, that is a major upgrade project that is funded through the UKCF, and also there's another component through the Green Climate Fund. This has to do with the upgrade of the water and sewer of Nawassa from Lagoon Road. Not Lagoon, but the Carenage, actually, from Carenage all the way down to Granans, down to Point Celine. This is necessary to treat with the increase in buildings and the more pressures that are coming on for the system. What you find happening after 2 to 3 decades, you would have a requirement to look at your system to upgrade them to meet the demands as more houses are built and more apartment buildings keep coming on. So Nawassa is responding appropriately in that regard to ensure that we can meet those demands and requirements. So that project is currently ongoing, and we should see some infrastructure work in terms of the laying of pipes and some construction work taking place later on in this year. So that is an important project. That is one of the reasons why we have not done any major overlay in terms of asphalt work on the Granans Main Road as yet, as it would not be wise for us to do so, and then in a couple of months have to dig the road up to lay those pipes. So we are basically waiting on the completion of that upgrade, that sewer and water main upgrade, for us to complete our road overlay. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. MTV, good morning.
And good morning to Minister Cox. My question is as it relates to the Simon Cultural Center. I think sometime last year, you would have mentioned that there is a possibility that we can see the Cultural Center being involved in Spice Mass 2022. Can you share with us, with the reintroduction of Spice Mass, can you share with us what role the Cultural Center is going to play with regards to future festivities, and could we see the completion of, or some, it getting to a point where it could be possibly used as a venue for 2022? And also, can you share with us, because I think the plan is for it to be a multi-purpose center. So can you kind of remind us again as to what the infrastructure and all that details and so forth is going to be like? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Troy, for that question. Okay, on the first part, we were very hopeful to maybe have some cultural activities taking place there for 2022, with the view of us starting in 2021. However, we had some delays, some unforeseen delays, had to do with some redesigning, and that kind of pushed us back. So that is seemingly unlikely for us to have any kind of like activities taking place there for 2022. As regards to the structure and what will be taking place at the facility, just to give a brief outlook, you would have a pavilion, a multi-story pavilion which will be constructed, and then you have a stage area that will be constructed separately. There's going to be a museum that will also house all our cultural and sporting heroes, past and current. So that is going to be laced with pictures and information on them. There is going to be an area for training, dancing, theater, things like that. There is also a part of the design that was included was a 25-meter swimming pool. However, that is not included in this scope of works. But for future going forward, that was built in the initial concept, that to have an area for the big parish for swimming. But we have not included that as part of this scope, but that is something that we are looking at. They are also going to have maybe office spaces, commercial spaces for persons to use for small business development as well. Those are some of the areas that are a part of the whole construct of the facility. So it's going to be a multi-purpose center, as indicated, and that was one of the things that came out from the consultations that we had with community members in the design phase of the project. So yes, it is quite fantastic. I think it'd probably be a good opportunity if we had, well, we did display, I think we did send the designs to the diaspora for persons to also weigh in on it. So we did do some significant consultation on that. So that is some of the main key points in terms of what is going to be contained within the center. There are obviously going to be parking, and there's going to be an open space between the pavilion and the stage area, so that persons can stand on the ground, something similar to how the stadium is also aligned. So when the billboard go up with the design and concept, persons in the committee would have a better sight of it as well. Thank you.
That's it for UMTV?
Yes, for now.
All right, great. GBN, good morning. GBN, good morning. Are you there?
Yes, good morning. Minister Fox, one of my questions, there are 5 speed bumps placed along the River Road area of the St. John's River project. Can you tell us the reason for these speed bumps and if they are temporary or not? Also, can you give us an update as it relates to the Grenville project?
Thank you. I'll start with the last one first. I presume that you're speaking about the Grenville Commercial Complex. So I believe so.
Yes.
Yes. So the Grenville Commercial Complex project have been tendered. Tenders have received. It is currently being evaluated. It's at the procurement board for final no objection. As soon as that is completed, we will update the public on that, and we can see work starting on the Grenville Commercial Complex thereafter. As regards to the speed bumps along the work at the River Road area, we were informed that there was an incident where a bus ran into one of the workers at the River Road area. After lengthy discussion with the police officer, the police, traffic, and the contractor, it was advised that some temporary speed bumps be installed to slow the traffic down, so to ensure the safety of the workers who are implementing the St. John's River project. So that is what really spiked the installation of those speed bumps. We continue to appeal to traffic users to slow down. It's a work site, it's an active work site, and we are trying our best to ensure that we try to minimize inconvenience and interruptions of the traffic while work is ongoing. We know there are other commercial businesses within the area, so it's important for us to have traffic so as not to impede their business in any negative way. But at the same time, we expect persons who use the roadway to slow down and to recognize that there are persons working there. So fortunately, the incident was not one that led to serious injury, but that was the main reason why those speed bumps were installed. And they are temporary speed bumps. I cannot say that there would not be speed bumps going thereafter. Those speed bumps are normally requested by community members. So if there are any speed bumps that will be installed permanently after the project is completed, it will be because of a request by community members, or if traffic department deem it necessary to do so. But as it stands right now, those speed bumps are temporary. Thank you.
Any other question from Irina? All right. Before we move on to Nancy Maguire, I have a question from somebody on social media. They're asking for an update on the Laborie Hopevale Main Road. They say it's difficult right now to commute. One know how soon the road will be paved.
That's the Monkuma. Oh, sorry. Thank you. That's the Monkuma Road. Yes, we are very hopeful that that road will be completed by the end of May 2022. I know that the Mount Morris roadway is very tough and very tight for persons going through that area. We ask persons to continue. We empathize with persons. Those are some of the things that we just can't control at this time. But we are making strong efforts to have that Monkuma Road ready. What we do know is that persons actually do use it when it's dry. They do drive through that area currently, but it's dirt road, and also obviously when it rains, it would not be a comfortable place to pass and safe, and not safe as well. We are working towards having it completed on or before May 2022. Thank you.
Nancy Maguire, good morning.
Questions about the Seamoon Cultural Center. First of all, what is the value of the contract awarded to Kenny's Construction? Secondly, the size of the pavilion in terms of how many people it would accommodate. And you mentioned the museum on cultural and sporting heroes, so it will be part of this structure. Who would be responsible for that part of it? And I'd asked you in November about repairs to the Sotes market, specifically the roof. You said it's a small thing that you can look into, but it seems to be getting worse, particularly for the butchers on a Saturday. So I wonder if you could follow.
Thank you, Nancy, for your question. Let me start with Sotes first. I am somewhat a little bit lost that the work is still undone. As I indicated, those are some more projects that we would normally treat with quickly.
Thank you.
But I must admit that the officer within that area, he's somewhat consumed with quite a bit of work because sadly, we lost one of our officers who passed, and we have not replaced him as yet. And the one officer there, I think he's a little bit stretched with work, so we are going to pay some attention to that to see how we can get that done. But thank you very much for raising that, and thank you very much for looking out for vendors and butchers at the Sotes market. As regards to the Seamoon Cultural Center, I don't have the exact figures, but I believe the cost is within the range of $18 million or so, 18 million plus EC dollars there, but I don't have the exact numbers, but I could remember it's just a little over $18 million. In terms of the capacity, let me not call a wrong figure. I know that there are several discussions on that when we were preparing the concept and designs, but I can't tell you off the top of my head right now in terms of the capacity, because there is seating capacity and there is also ground capacity. As I say, there is an open space between the pavilion and the stage area. I would not be able to give you those numbers right now, but we can get those thereafter. You can message me, I'll get it to you. Thank you. Oh, there's a third part of the question that has to do, the Ministry of Culture, of course, and Sports would be the one who will be working with the community. There are a number of community groups who have a strong sense of knowledge in terms of the history, persons who we believe that are significant to highlight, who clearly represents Grenada's history from a both sporting and cultural aspect, and they are the ones who the ministry, of course, would lead the charge in having that museum established. I think it's a wonderful idea, and when we saw the concepts, I think it was beautiful that we incorporate that there, especially for persons within the St. Andrews area as well. St. Andrews has a rich history for sportsmen and cultural icons. So I think that is something that a good opportunity to highlight those, so that the young persons who coming up can understand the history of the community and understand that aspect of their culture. I think that is invaluable, and those are one of the things that we wanted to incorporate within the cultural center.
Right.
Oh, and for the previous question, the library Hopeville, I'm not certain what the status with that road. I honestly don't want to. Normally, I would do ensure that I do visits to those sites to get a first-hand look at work that is being done. But I'm unable to give an update as to where we are with that road right now. So my apologies for that. But that you can always get from us.
All right, so as soon as we have information, of course, we'll bring that to you. GBN, you have another question? Go right ahead.
Yes, good morning, Minister. As Minister for Infrastructure, climate change is with us, among us. A number of courts around the island are in need of repairs, resurfacing. Would we be seeing such being done this year, as well as maybe adding lights to some of the facilities? And can you give our progress update in terms of the Grenville Market?
I didn't hear clearly. Was it courts? I didn't hear clearly the question. If you speak about courts.
Gerald, can you repeat the question?
In terms of basketball courts around the island.
Okay, thank you. As regard to the basketball courts, I believe a significant portion of our courts have been already lighted, and those that are not, they are carded to be lighted. What we are spending significant focus on this year is lighting of some of the playing fields. We have started some, and we have some to roll out within the next couple of months or so. So that is a requirement, because what we found out and from our assessment, even while I was in sports, is that you have a lot of different disciplines using the facility, and in order for persons to get an ample time to train, to recreate, light helps extend that opportunity for persons to utilize those facilities. Hence the reason why we are pushing hard on lighting and upgrading where necessary. We are currently doing some upgrades on Woburn playing field light. We are currently doing some upgrades on Boseju light as well. So those are some of the things that are happening. And also we have just installed lights at Lassages playing field, which I didn't even mention, which is significant for that community of St. David's, who have been asking for those lights for quite some time. It's a significant project for us, and we are hoping by next week lights should be on for initial testing. And I keep my fingers crossed. We're pushing for Friday, but there's some work to be done by Grand Lake to upgrade the transformers to ensure that we have the right capacity so that we do not have any electrical issues. If we can get that, they will be lighting by Friday. If not, sometime on the weekend or early next week, Lassages will be lighted. I'm not sure if I covered all part of your question. My apologies if I didn't.
Yes, in terms of the resurfacing and repairs to the basketball courts, and as well as an update on the St. George's Market.
Okay, great. All right. So most of our courts are concrete, and one of the things that we have been doing is assessing the structural integrity. One of the courts that we looked at that may require some resurfacing, I think, is Go Up, the one called Bud Peters Park. So we are looking at that. Also, the others, they are mainly more of a cosmetic work that needs to be done on them in terms of painting, doing some acrylic to ensure that the aestheticness and the surface is good for playing. So that is something that is driven by the Ministry of Sports. They would have the priority areas that they would want done. So as soon as they forward those to us, we would implement. That is what we do in that regard. So yes, work is going to be done on the resurfacing of those areas. As regards to the St. George's Market, we are doing some upgrade works there. We have initially completed the first set of what we call stands. There were 60 stalls completed. We about 95% complete with the washroom upgrade and we're hoping to complete the washroom in the next 2 weeks, and then we have another 32 stands that are being constructed right now and should be completed within a month's time. So we are very hopeful that within a month's time, the major works at the St. George Vendors Market should be completed, and we will see the vendors coming back in. That is another activity that we have to look at as we do, as the booths are somewhat oversubscribed. So that is something that we're working closely with all stakeholders to ensure that we make the best decision in terms of accommodating persons as they come back into the market. We are very, very much looking forward to that. It's a project that the parliamentary rep as well, he has been on steady to ensure that we get that the market in full operation pre-COVID. Thank you very much for that question as well.
Colleagues, anybody else with questions? Just to let you know, colleagues and viewers, that we will be bringing live the official opening of the CARICOM Heads of Government Summit from Belize. Of course, our Prime Minister, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, is leading a delegation there. Accompanying him, the CARICOM Ambassador, Ali Gill, and the Press Secretary, Ms. Philomena Robertson. So that will be at 11 o'clock this morning. MTV, good morning again.
Yes, good morning. Minister Cox, are you in a position to provide us with an update on the Guav Health Center? Last I heard it was 95% completed, just needed some cosmetic works and so forth. However, we're in 2022 and I do not believe it has been opened. How soon can we see the venue being open to the public?
Okay, thank you very much for that question, Troy. I think it's important that we raise that. That's a very important project for the Western Corridor community, Guav, St. Mark's, and even St. Patrick's. Yes. We have done some work, contrary to what you may think. Significant work have been done in terms of, if you passed there recently, you would see the walkway along the roadway, barricade. There is a railing so that persons can enter to and from the clinic safely, just so that they don't get in traffic issues. Actually, the center is being used. There is minimal use of the center currently. So there is some clinic activity taking place there. We have been using it for vaccination. There was one major issue that has been holding up the final close on the project, and it's something that has to do with an electrical issue with Grand Lake. There is a pole to be replaced, and there is some boundary matters to be addressed. So for the past couple of weeks, we have been trying to finalize that. But for the most part in terms of the building, that is completed. The furnitures, everything for inside, the refrigerators, everything for the clinic, that is procured and it is on island. So the Ministry of Health, they are ready to move on that. And when I come back next time, I think I'll be able to give you a definitive time when we will have an opening ceremony or when the project will be finally closed off. But thank you very much for that question. That facility is very important to those communities, and we want to get it up and running. We did have some delays. We did have some additional work. It took a little longer time than normal. And that is one of the challenges with projects. They are dynamic. And when you have variations, then sometimes it's outside of the scope of the current contract, then you have to go back, and there are certain legal processes that we must follow to ensure that we do what is right in terms of the country finances, to make sure that we do the necessary assessment and that we get value for money. So that was one of the major activities that we had us to do, and that delayed the project to some extent. So our apologies for that, but that is some of the due diligence that has to take place when we have some significant projects like that. So, but we have gone past that, and the contractor is committed to complete. They are very, very much committed to ensure that we finish this project. So when I do return, sometime not too long from now or even before, we can communicate to the media a close-up date and a wonderful opening ceremony, and to see people go in to use the facility. I think that is what we want to see. While we're on this, we we have from infrastructure side, we have completed the dialysis unit, that extra unit, separate unit that we built at the General Hospital. One of the things with that unit is it is specific for such purpose, and the Ministry of Health is working right now to roll out the operations. I believe sometime, I think on the 10th of this month, 10th of March, they are going to start with treating patients out of a new dialysis ward. I think that is a significant development for our country, for Grenada. It's a very expensive undertaking, but that is the investment that is needed for our country, and one of the reasons why we are committed to doing that. So I just wanted to update on that as well. While you mentioned on the clinic, I just think it was important that the public is aware of that. But the Ministry of Health, they are going to update on the operational aspect of it. Our job in terms of the construction, supervision, and implementation, we have completed that. So thank you very much.
All right. Minister, if we should go back to the MBIA project for a while, can you just remind us about the significance and the importance of this and what it means for Grenada on completion of this particular project?
Thank you very much for that question. No, the airport upgrade project is one that is required to keep our airport up to a standard. And as you know, facilities do deteriorate, equipment do get outdated. So we're going to see equipment upgrade. I know that the equipment have been procured. I'm not certain if they received them as yet. That is for the control tower and navigational equipments. So all that is going to be upgraded. So we have a better response, better safety in terms of planes coming to our shores. The airstrip is going to be resurfaced, and that is very critical. You wouldn't want a plane landing here and having to have a puncture on landing, on impact. So those are critical upgrades. What we have also taken place is a storage facility that will be constructed at the airport. That will be done to facilitate our export market component in terms of storage for fish and other products going out, to ensure that they're at the right temperature. That we do not have now. Persons have to hurry at a particular time during the day to catch the flight within a particular time to deliver, because there is minimal storage. There is not adequate, not even cold storage at the airport. So that is a significant upgrade. There is also emergency operations center that is also going to be constructed as well. So it's a significant upgrade. There are going to be 2 air bridges. As you see now, the challenges that persons who are on wheelchair, persons with disabilities, the challenges that they have to embark and disembark from the plane, all that is going to be removed once those upgrades are done. I think it's quite important that we do this, and we are happy to have this upgrade taking place at this point in time. So those are some of a snapshot of where we are.
Great, thank you so much, colleagues. Anybody else with a final question before we wrap this up? As I mentioned, we will be bringing live for you the Heads of Government Summit, CARICOM Heads of Government Summit from Belize at 11 o'clock this morning. And of course, our Honorable Prime Minister is there with a small delegation. Any other questions from you, colleagues? All right, if there are no other questions, Minister Cox, the floor is yours for some final remarks.
I just want to take this opportunity to express thanks to our media colleagues. Sometimes we take their engagement for granted, but it's important that we provide an opportunity for them to engage government and the work that we do. We just want to thank them for continuing doing the work. I think that is important to give the public the information that is required. And we want to thank the public for continuing to work with us, cooperating with us. We know that it has not been easy. We are doing significant road infrastructure work throughout the island, and there are some significant delays taking place. I was in Clasco Bay area in Woburn yesterday, and had an engagement with residents who also have some challenges with our road work. We have some upgrade work from now, so that is going to take place there within the next 2 weeks to upgrade the water supply as more homes are built, more buildings go down. Nawasa is now pressed to increase the demand for water within those areas. So we recognize that some persons are inconvenienced. We want to ask you to please continue to bear with us. Those inconveniences are beneficial at the end of the day, and we want you to continue to engage us. Please call if there are any incidents, any things that is required for us to address immediately, any breakage, any road that is damaged by water or so. Please let us know. You are our eyes out there, and we are going to respond as quickly as possible to ensure that we keep our roadways safe. We're asking, as the Minister responsible for transport, I want to ask persons to continue to be safe on the road, to drive responsible. I think some of the accidents can be avoided. That's what we recognize on a daily basis. And I think we can do better on our roadways. It's just a matter for us to just be patient, a little bit of patience, and we're going to get there. I always say that when you rush, if you just wait 2 or 3 seconds, just wait for a vehicle to pass you, try to squeeze through, you lose a whole 2-3 hours. You have to wait for the police, you have to get towed, and your whole day is spoiled. So just a couple seconds, and you're going to get where you need to go safely. So thank you very much for being here. I look forward to coming back and updating as we move forward with those projects, and as we have them ready. We have some more important projects on the pipeline coming, and you'll hear more about them as we move forward. So thank you very much, and it's a pleasure for me to be here today.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nolan Cox, Minister for Infrastructure Development, Public Utilities, Transport and Implementation. Colleagues, thank you as well for your questions this morning and for always being with us. And we also say thank you to our viewers on Channel 22 of Facebook page, the YouTube channel, our live stream, and of course those of you in the diaspora. And as I mentioned a short while ago, we will be bringing at 11 o'clock this morning the live opening ceremony of the CARICOM Heads of Government Summit from Belize. Our Prime Minister, Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, is attending the meeting, and he is accompanied by the CARICOM Ambassador Ali Gill and the Press Secretary, Ms. Philomena Robertson. So stay with the Government Information Service. That comes up at 11 o'clock. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us.
The most common causes of spreading the flu.